Oh, hi guys, Howard again. I know it's been a while, but there's been a couple of problems. One, I've had a bit of a health issue, but I'm much better now. And two, a bigger problem, I'm running out of interesting cameras. Anyhow, when I say this was Canon's final rangefinder camera, I am twisting the truth a little bit. There was actually a model after the 7, that being the 7S. But in my defence, the 7S is really just a 7 with a CDS cell to replace the selenium cell and a flash shoe. These cameras were the pinnacle of Canon rangefinders, and despite being released in 1961, a couple of years after the rise of the SLR, they sold very well through into the late 60s. One of their great virtues was that they used a Leica 39mm screw-mount lenses, so there was a wide range of lenses that can be used. Make no mistake, these are superb cameras made to the highest standards, and if you can find a good one, it'll virtually last you forever. Alright, let's have a good look at it. Now, there are those who will say that the Model P that came before it was better looking. I'd argue that. I'm quite partial to the look of a selenium cell, and I think these are a very nice looking camera. Plus they have significant advantages over the Model P. But the Model P is also a beautiful camera. I've got a Jupiter 8 lens sitting in this for the purpose of the exercise, but we won't really talk about that because, you know, as I say, there are screw-mount lens. Any Leica lens or Nikon lens from that era will fit anything that takes an L39. So while I've got that out, the little rangefinder roller is there, so the lens, as it screws it and out, moves that backwards and forwards. You can see the little mirror moving in the window there, or the reflection of it at least. I'll just put it back in for the purpose of making it look like a real camera. Come on, come on. Alright, the Jupiter 8 is a Russian copy of a Zeiss lens. Alright, so looking at the front, we've got a very nice 10-second or more time to delay there. You can use these mechanisms, are beautifully built, so there's no problem in using these. They're super reliable, big strong mechanism, and they work like a charm, unlike the ones that tend to be built into the lens barrels in some of the rangefinder cameras. These are very reliable. We've got the selenium cell window, we've got the rangefinder window. It's quite a wide rangefinder spot, so that's very or distance, so it's a very accurate rangefinder. The windows for the masks, and that's about it on the front. Now if we go to the top, now you'll notice there's something a bit unusual about this. It doesn't have a flash shoe. That's because it's got the meter here on top. Well, that's part of the reason. But you could, the flash unit here, the flash PC socket is got a large bayonet mount around it. So you could buy, and they cost about as much as the cameras now, but you could buy a flash unit that clipped on there. And you plugged your lead in there, so that was nice and compact and worked well, but it was, as I say, these days they're very expensive. Quite a small rewind knob. Now, one of the advantages these have got over the Model P, the Model P's got about 5 different lens-sized viewing frames, but they're all in the one window, so it gets a bit cluttered and it's a bit hard to see. Whereas this one, we've got a nice, if we put the round onto there, we've got a nice 35mm bright line frame that shows up. That's all it shows. You need to take your glasses off to see the edges of it a bit, but for people who don't wear glasses, it's fine, and you can take your glasses off. It's a very clean, very clear viewfinder. So we've got a separate frame, bright line frame for 35mm. We rotate that around. I'm going the wrong way. It's a smart idea. We've got a 50mm. Very nice. We've got 2 at once here. We've got an 85, which is the outer main frame, and we've got 100, which is the inner corners within the 80mm frame, and then we've got 135. So basically, it's a much cleaner system than the Model P. So for all except 85 and 100, and which are quite close and very easy to select the right frame out of, when you're viewing out those two, the rest have all got a lovely bright line frame. Now the meter, and this meter works, but they're not the easiest meter to read off because of lines going off on angles and things, and you've got two settings on it. So you see there's a little black dot lining up the black dot there, and that's for outdoors in the sun and bright conditions. If we rotate this around 180 degrees, there's a little, you probably can't see it as orange, but it's actually a little orange dot. And when you've got the orange dot, you use the orange figures in the window. So you set your speed to wherever you want it, and then you read off the needle across. Easy enough there. It gets a bit trickier up here, and then you've got to remember if you're using the orange or the silver. So it's not the world's greatest meter, but it's a meter and it works. So we can't complain. And it was pretty early on, 1961. Don't forget, this is a very old camera. Now it's got a nice setup on the speed ring. As you can see, the speed ring goes from T, B, and 1 second around to 1/1000th, and you've got the ASA window here. Now, you don't lift it or anything to change the ASA window. There's a button on the back, so you hold the button in, and then when you turn this, it alters the ASA. You're not altering the speeds at this stage, just altering the ASA. Lock in your ASA, and then no matter how much you twiddle with this, you're not going to accidentally upset the ASA. Harking back to the old Leicas a bit, we've got, I'll just pull that out, we've got a line on the ring. Now I've got a little soft touch button on here screwed into the cable release. It feels nicer with that. I'll pull it out for the purpose of the exercise. Okay, so there's your normal shutter release button. Okay, so I caught for a second there, but put it around on 1/25th. Okay, so there's a little line there pointing towards the A. That's normal advance. Move it to the next little red dot to lock it, and to rewind the film all the way around to R. Okay, so you'll see with it on A, when you rotate it down in the window, you see that little shaft rotate, and yeah, so it does one full rotation. So that's driving the film across. One full rotation every wind on. You'll see also this arm sits off very nicely for using. Doesn't turn anything on or off, but it does sit out in a very nice position. And we've got the frame counter here, which zeroes back when you open the back. So on the back we've got the viewfinder window. Very lovely, clear viewfinder, bright rangefinder patch. Get a good one of these, and they're just a great rangefinder camera. Beautifully built. On the bottom, one unfortunate thing, we've got the tripod mount right off to one end. Obviously something to do with the shutter mechanism, but it would be nice if it was in the middle and everything was balanced up, but it's not. But anyway, we can live with that. Now, the same way as it had a double lock effectively on changing the ASAs up here, it's got a double lock to open the back. So you've got to lift this up, rotate it. Now, as you rotate it, you'll see it pulls this little tag in. So it actually retracts the tag. So you see that there? And once the tag's retracted, then you can pull down there and open the back. Okay. Now, you'll see, common with these cameras, these are titanium curtains, so they're metal curtains, very thin metal curtains, and they tend to crease up a bit. It's not a problem as long as they're not too badly creased. Mine are fine. I mean, this is quite a normal amount of creasing. If you look at the first curtain, it's perfect, but the second one is, but it's really not a problem. So you've got to lock that, and then you've got to shut that. You've got some strap lugs on the front in a position to balance it. I actually looked at buying the proper Nikon lens for this, and it was made of solid brass, and it weighed almost more than the camera. So I didn't. The camera's heavy enough. It's about 780 odd grams. I think it's quite a heavy camera, but the lens just almost doubled it. It was amazing. Talk about solid brass. It was incredible. Okay, well, that's really, I can't speak too highly about these. Canon and Nikon made some beautiful rangefinder cameras. This is the best of the Canons, with the possible exception of the CDS cell. Someone's hammering out the backyard. If you can get your hands on one, they're not cheap. They made lots of them, and there's lots of them around. I paid about 250 Australian for this, and it's got a tiny little ding on the corner, unfortunately, but that's how it came, and so be it. It doesn't affect its usage at all. Beautifully built, just lovely cameras, so I really can't say any more than that. Okay, well, look, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. I mean, the channel realistically won't be going much longer. I've only got a couple more cameras, and that'll be it. But anyhow, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.